Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and welcome to NWOpenings. Okay, it's time for us to get rid of one more box from the excessive amounts we have here in the DSW warehouse. And it's that lad on the bottom there. And I would normally say that that's one more figure's worth of space made, but to be honest, this is such a precarious tower to begin with. I think it really counts, to be honest. But yeah. Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today I'm just doing NWOpening number 54, and it is an Elite 101 Johnny Knoxville figure. I was really hoping that Mattel would make this. I couldn't see why they wouldn't. You know, Gronk got a figure. Why wouldn't he? I mean, I suppose Gronk was supposed to have a long-term run, I guess. But, my point is, I was really happy that we got this guy. As soon as he announced that he was in the Royal Rumble, I was hoping we would get a Johnny Knoxville figure, and it just carried on from there. And I was so happy when they previewed this to know that we were absolutely getting a Johnny figure. It's absolutely great. Now, I do have a few criticisms of this figure, but we'll get into them as we go along. And yeah, we'll just sort of start off with, you know, there's the front of the box. There's the back. In the rest of the series, we have this seemingly very scarce American... It even says American Nightmare on the back of this box. Oh, never mind it saying it on the actual figures box. It even says the American Nightmare there. Oh my god, this is a multiple time spelling error. That is hilarious. I never noticed that before. We got Kevin Owens, massive pass from me. Johnny Knoxville, Mr. America. It is also a pass from me, but you know, it's pretty funny, pretty interesting. This Ricochet I actually think is really nice, but I'm not a massive fan of the guy. And we have Sonya Deville as well. Not really much for me. So without gabbling on any further, let's get into it. First thoughts on this figure. First of all, the cape is a lot bigger than I thought it would be, and there is a slight catch there. It's possibly just caught on the bubble as I was pulling it out, because the bubble actually had like a massive gash through it. It's possibly just caught on that, but yeah, Johnny Knoxville, world champion. You know, just bit of daft fun, isn't it? Which I suppose can be is a term that can be used to describe this look in general. If I'm completely honest, I kind of wish he'd gone for something a little bit less silly, because, you know, this really does nothing for me. I don't think it's particularly funny. I don't think it looks good either. I know that's kind of the point. He was just going for the most ridiculous costume possible, but you know, I would have rather he wore something else. That being said, you know, I'm just happy to have gotten this figure all together. And I have been tempted to buy another copy so that I can paint the hair and make like a younger Johnny Knoxville, which is of course a Knoxville that a lot of us are a lot more familiar with. The one thing that you might notice is that this is the main thing that bothers me about the figure. Because it is scaled to Johnny Knoxville's body size, and it is a lot smaller than the average Elite, but they haven't scaled down his hands. They look pretty big to me. They look a little bit Kamala Khan-esque, to be honest. They're a little bit Ms. Marvel, kind of elasticated in the hand region there. Other than that, however, I think this is, you know, a pretty great representation of the attire he wears. I mean, it's very daft, it's very simple, but, you know, it's pretty well, you know, showcased here. Now, one thing I don't want to do is undo that knot on the World Champion cape. So hopefully we'll be able to pull that over his head. Actually, yeah, that just slides straight off over him. So that's great, because I can't imagine how annoying it would be trying to get that knot done again. There's a bit of a closer look at the cape. Just, you know, white Johnny Knoxville World Champion on it. It also comes with the goggles, of course, the safety goggles, which ironically, I'm sure he's probably done plenty of stunts where he does wear safety goggles, but off the top of my head, I can't think of anywhere he has, which I just think is kind of ironic. And these are a little bit too small to get on him easily. You can get them there eventually. An interesting contingent in this figure is that if you get one where the eyes aren't painted on particularly straight, you can just put him eternally in goggles. Oh, man, I just can't get over the fact that we have a Johnny Knoxville WWE figure. That, I mean, it's the most obvious combination in the world, but I just, you know, never would have expected this to exist. He's got the elbow pads there, but they're actually molded in, which, if I'm completely honest, I actually prefer that to removable pads. So they're not like sliding around while I'm filming an animation. You can't lose them or anything like that, you know, it's just attached to the figure. Same with the knee pads. Of course, these are smaller and not like wrestling styled pads because Knoxville doesn't use those. Of course, we do have some open grip swappable hands as well. We've got a very small tattoo on that one. And we've got tattoos on both of them. So this is a really, really fine and absolutely passable detail. All of his hands have his very small tattoos on them. In fact, I would have just thought that was a mark unless, you know, he had a tattoo on that hand. And don't think the tattoos match. So that one kind of does, because that's just a big black smudge. But that one's like one circle and that one's two circles. And if I'm completely honest, I'm probably going to use him with these hands more often. You know, I like a grip hand. I think it's more likely that he's going to be wielding a weapon than ever punching anyone. In fact, I think the fists are kind of... I mean, did he ever punch anyone in any of his appearances? I really don't know, but it's probably going to hide the Kamala Khan-iness of these hands a little bit as well. And yeah, I think that's probably what I'm going to do. So yeah, we've got the face scan, I think, is pretty good. The goggles, you know, they do their job fine. I like the molded pads. We've got the JK logo in the middle there, which is really well printed. There's not really any paint missing or anything there. And then, of course, actually, there's no paint imperfections on this at all, I can really see. There's no marks or anything like that. And we've just got the white shorts, white knee pads. The shoes are concerning me a little bit, because if you haven't noticed already, I'm kind of struggling to get him to stand up, like, first time. So I'm wondering that they might be a little bit loose. But that being said, the trainer style shoes, very, very cool there. He's got like Converse type, you know, hipster shoes on. And yeah, very, very cool. Nice bit of detail there rather than just sticking him in some like generic short boots or something like that. So now we'll get into the joint check. And first of all, we'll start with the head, which is very firm. That's nice and tight. Now we'll go for the shoulder. That's nice and flat. Look at that. No stiffness in that shoulder at all. That's great. Bicep swivel is fine. And the double jointed elbow is pretty good. And that wrist is really tight for an interchangeable hand figure. So that's really cool. So this, are we going to continue the trend of having one tight shoulder? Let's find out. No, that's perfectly flat. Does it go up? It goes up. Perfect. Look at that. And the bicep swivel is great as well. The elbow joint is great. And that wrist is great as well. The ab joint is quite stiff, but it's movable, you know. So that's good. And the waist is more than fine. I like that his arms can go right the way down because he looks scrawnier if he has his arms by his side. Leg goes up fine. That knee is ridiculous. That's, I'm a little bit scared to keep trying to move that. Is that, there is no giving that at all. Like that's the amount. That is the complete amount I can get that knee moved. So that's good. And that boot is kind of soft. It's kind of loose around the ankle. And it is also quite loose there. So that's a bit of a pain. The other leg is fine. The knee also just stiff. So it must be that molded knee pad. Not a massive deal. You know, this guy's not going to do an excessive amount of wrestling. And that boot is also quite loose in both regards. So until we get down to about here, the joints are in amazing condition. Beyond that, they fall apart a little bit. And yeah, I guess in terms of a figure review, I'm just very glad we got this. I would have preferred it if Knoxville had worn something a little bit less ridiculous to make a figure of. Even if he just had street clothes at some point to sort of make a figure of that, that would be really cool. This is quite a silly desire, but I kind of wish they'd went back to the old days and gave him Wee Man as an accessory. That would have been really funny. I also kind of wish that more of the Jackass guys might have come along. You know, we might have had a bit more Pontius, a bit more Wee Man and all that stuff, just so we could get more figures out of it. But quite frankly, I'm happy to get Knoxville, and, you know, who would have ever thought that would happen? In terms of the figure, it's perfectly well detailed to Knoxville in the attire that, you know, he was wrestling in. The head scan's great. The knee pads are a little bit of a shame, and the hands are a little bit oversized, but like I say, it'll be better once we get the C-grip hands on. In fact, I'm just going to put that on to show you what I mean. Okay, so it actually doesn't look that much different. I mean, they kind of look a bit smaller, but they actually still look pretty big. And I think it's only in person where you're going to realize how big they actually look on him. But it's not that bad, and it definitely is a bit better than the closed fists. It does blend in a little bit more, and they're definitely the hands that will be used for him a little bit more. So what I like to do to finish off my figure reviews is talk about what this guy's going to do in my figure fed. And as a short answer, I don't really know what he's going to do in my wrestling fed, but he will definitely be turning up and having like random appearances and doing some janky stuff. I have one fairly big match idea, which is just absolutely ridiculous, which he will have coming up. But he will probably feature more commonly in the Ultimate Fist Mixed Combat Sports pick fed that I'm doing over on Instagram, in just some daft stuff in that regard as well. So I guess he's just going to be popping up here and there. Don't really have any real plans for him, but you know, he's definitely going to feature a lot. And that being said, if you enjoyed this video, please do check out the NWOpening playlist in the end screen. Please do like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye. Okay, so it has taken me a little while to film this video, considering it's the kind of figure that I would have happily unboxed straight away. Because this is apparently my comedy style, I was going to tack on a video at the end saying, I know what you guys want. You guys want to see an SMF clip to go with this Jackass video. The SMF being my stunt group from around 10 years ago, which I did make a video about in the end screen. Apparently that is what I think is funny, is pretending you know what that is. But ultimately, I couldn't think of anything to do. And then my friend completely innocently sent me this video the other day of him performing a dangerous wrestling stunt that also showcased his premium, top level, unbelievable technical wrestling ability. So we're going to send that over to him right now. Bret Hart wishes he could do stuff like that. All right, see you later, guys.